Hey everybody, Radioactive here with another video. Today we're going to be going over the Desperado, the Adventure Force Desperado upgrade kit. Now it's a very simple upgrade kit, but it really does pack a punch. First, I'm going to do the introduction, then I'm going to get you some stock numbers, and then I'm going to get you the upgraded numbers. So, what we have here is an O-ring. It's just a standard hammer shot. It's the exact same O-ring, actually, that I use for the hammer shot upgrade kits and the Max Outlaw upgrade kit. Literally the exact same one. If you watched my video yesterday, you will have known that you will have seen me actually try it, and it worked really well. Now, over the past maybe 20 hours, I have designed this spacer. This is a 10mm modular spacer. You can stack as many of them as you want, technically. I would only really recommend up to 4. However, I think technically 6 will fit. But yeah, they stack. They don't fall off of each other. You can... if you look at the bottom of them, they are hollow, so that this can stack inside of it, and they fit together. It's actually really strong. Really proud and happy of how all this worked out. Let me see if I can remember what the performance increases were. So, previously, a stock Desperado, I tested it, and it hit an average of 60 FPS with the Adventure Force waffles that it came with. With the O-ring only, if I remember correctly, I got around 75 FPS. With one spacer and an O-ring, I think I got like 83 FPS average. I believe so. With 2, I believe I got high 80s. I think it was like 88. I'm really struggling to remember at this point. What I do remember is that with no, it was 91.9. I remember. It was 91.9 with 2, and then it was like 95.9 with 3, and then it was 99.9 FPS with 4 spacers. 40 millimeters of spacers. I'm so sad about that. Literally, if one shot had been 2 FPS higher out of the 24 shots that I put over the chronograph, it would have been over 100 FPS average. So saddened by that. It's such a simple modification here. It's an incredibly simple mechanism. There's like no dead space. The seal is really good, at least between here. Really only a spacer and an O-ring is what you can do to it. Other than a cylinder, which I'm going to be designing today. At least time of recording. So, I'm going to take you over to the chronograph and get some shots for you. Alright, so, this is my Saturnus chronograph. Let me quickly load up this blaster. Probably should have done this before starting the recording, but I've done it anyway. Now, the main issue that I have with this blaster is that it's difficult to line up over the chronograph, especially when I'm trying to record it. And the fact that there are only 2 spots on the blaster to actually load darts. So, let's see here if I can get some good numbers. 63, 64, 65, 65, I think that's a misread. 68. Ah, this is actually reading a little bit higher than my other one. Interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, I was getting around 60 or so previously. $65, $69, $70, $67, $71, $63. Huh. Interesting. So a little bit higher than what I had recorded previously. Now, I do know that there is some... Actually, let's take you back over to the bench, to the workbench. All right, so as you were able to see, performance was actually decent in the mid to high 60s. A little bit lower than elite average, but it's a lot better than what I had gotten previously. My previous numbers, some were in the 50s. It was like mid 50s to mid 60s. Now, and I also did check the seal before this. Now, I know that there's a lot of tolerance on performance on these blasters. Mine seem to have been the lowest, but people have also been saying, oh yeah, it hits 70 to 75 FPS and has a good seal stock. Neither of mine have good seal stock, and this is still 65 to 70. So I wonder, I mean, the O-ring is still an improvement because I was getting 75 FPS average with that, highs in the 80s. So the new O-ring is still an improvement. But I wonder if on some blasters it just won't have as much of an improvement as what I saw initially. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up off camera and get us all ready to install. All right, now that we've undone all of the screws, let's get this open. So to do this modification, you don't even have to open this part. Where did this one come out of? Right there. The typical one. All right, so we have our spring and stock guide. All right, we've got this thing. So where's my, there it is. So I like to use a small screwdriver to do this. It's just preference. I'd rather not get my hands too lubricated. Alright, so remove that and put on the new O-ring. Alright, and that should be it for the O-ring. We are going to go ahead and put in all of the spacers. There is a guide back here, so do make sure that this is lined up correctly with the guide in the right spot. Right, take that off. We're going to do all of these spacers, so press this down on top of it. You'll hear a click. That will not go anywhere. These slots are also lined up for here, so you don't have to modify this at all. It is completely reversible if you wanted to, and it keeps it from rotating at all. So put the second one on there. Put the third one on there. They all line up in the same way, and put the last one on there, and it also lines up in the same way. It barely moves at all. Now, Probably the most difficult part of this this modification. Actually putting this spring on there, because you've just added 40 millimeters of pre-compression. Alright. That's on there. It is bowing out just a little bit. So now put on your this just, I don't even know what that is, what the deal with that is. Put this together. Make sure it's all down. This is bowed out a little bit, so just press in, put it together. So, because there is so much pre-compression now, you do have to hold it together to make sure that your screws get into their grooves. You do not want to cross thread these. These are very, very coarse threads. This didn't have an issue. Sometimes, when putting together the blaster, this red piece right here likes to go over top of the orange piece. It didn't do it here. And that will prevent this screw from being able to be screwed in properly. I'm going to go ahead and do all of these screws here. And then I'm going to get you to the chronograph again and get you the maximum numbers. Now, there is a little bit of an issue. I have noticed when firing this blaster that if the blaster is fully loaded with darts, at least Adventure Force waffle darts, that when it is fired, the other darts in the cylinder are actually knocked out of the barrel just a couple of millimeters every shot. So by the time you get to the end, it can actually happen that the heads are rubbing on the front of this, of the support right here, and are causing major problems with rotation. Firing the blaster too fast can also cause problems, but that's just the way it is, even stock. So yeah, now I'm going to go ahead and take you over to the chronograph again and get you those numbers. So, now it's time to show you exactly what this blaster is capable of. Let me see if I can get this over the chronograph properly. 112. Error. 96, and the darts are coming out of the barrels just a little bit. So between shots, I'm going to have to press those back down. That didn't register. 102. 95. So this is a little bit all over the place compared to what I had recorded previously. The highs are a little bit higher, and the lows are about the same. There we go. I think that's down to dart fit. Some of these are now worn just because of all the testing I've done on them. And the fact that the darts are coming out of the barrel slightly reducing and impacting performance. 97, press those down. 104, press those down. 103. 99. That's not correct. That's definitely not correct. Here, I'll put a few more shots over it for you, because we had a few issues there. 97, 98, 109. Let's do one more. Last one. 114. It's a little bit higher than what I have gotten previously, but I feel like that's well within a reasonable expected tolerance. It is a little bit crazy with four spacers. It's a little all over the place. At least here it was. It seems like the standard deviation does increase just a little bit at 4 spacers. With 1 spacer, it improved. With 2 spacers, it improved. With a 3rd spacer, I think it got just a tiny bit worse. And in my my prototype testing, 4 spacers was actually really decent. I did try, but that might be because the darts were sticking out a certain amount after being fired several times. Because of the recoil of the blaster. And here, I was pressing them in further. So, who knows? But it is a definite increase in performance. Over 100 FPS with 4 spacers. Let's get back to the workbench. So, final thoughts. It's a really remarkable improvement in performance, honestly. With full lengths as well, hitting over 100 FPS with all the spacers, the full kit installed. No other modifications, mind you. I didn't replace the lube at all. The dart flag is still in there. So with no other changes except for the upgrade kit. The full upgrade kit with 4 spacers. Over 100 FPS. Now, again, you can do less spacers for a less difficult pull, and you'll still get really decent performance. I'm really, really happy with the performance that this has given me. So let's say 60 to 65 FPS average with no mods done to it. All the way up to about 100 FPS average. That's a 35 FPS increase-ish. A 30 to 35 FPS increase. No, it is 35. Yeah, 35. 35 to 40 FPS increase. So that's like 50 to 60% improvement over stock. Yeah, really, really happy with how it turned out. And I hope you are too. The links are going to be in the description to this. I'm going to be selling. I'm still undecided on if I want to do individual. So like O-ring and 1 spacer, O-ring and 2 spacer option, O-ring and 3 spacer, O-ring and 4 spacer option. I might just start with the 4 spacers and O-ring option, and then we'll see how it all goes from there. If people really would rather have 1, 2, or 3 spacer options as well, I can do that. Yeah. Excuse me. This is the Adventure Force Desperado upgrade kit. I can't really think of anything else I would do to it, so it doesn't seem fitting to call it a basic, intermediate, or advanced upgrade kit. It's just the upgrade kit. We'll call it a full upgrade kit. How about that? We'll call it the full upgrade kit. Did that with the Outlaw. So yeah, this is the AF Desperado full upgrade kit. Links to it will be in the description on my Etsy store, Radioactive's Designs. Believe that's all I wanted to show today. Remember to like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing some more things with this blaster, potentially a couple of different cylinder modifications. I'm Radioactive, and I hope you have a great day.